Now, there is no doubt about it that With Love Meghan is already a ratings disaster, given that we have Netflix CEO Greg Peters, the board of directors, the many executives over there that are now scrambling to do damage control for this show at any cost available. They really are beginning to realize that the public backlash is beyond anything that they can really handle at this point, and they all saw it coming except for the board many months ago. In fact, Greg Peters tried to really warn them ahead of time that this was looming, that this was what was going to ultimately happen with this series, and already we are beginning to realize that on Rotten Tomatoes it's sitting around 12 to 9%. It keeps going back and forth, bouncing back and forth with those ratings, but it's going to continue to get worse as time flies by, as more word of mouth gets out there for this series. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. So the financial collapse surrounding Meghan Markle is only getting worse at this point. We're going to explain exactly why it's getting worse and exactly also why things are just failing in every direction for Meghan Markle. Now, we already know that number one, this show is very inauthentic. Number two, it has a lot to do with the failed test screenings internally that happened over time. We talked about this. This was the first major hint that this series was going to fail, ultimately with no resolution in sight. However, when it boils down to the financial crisis surrounding Meghan Markle right now, as she desperately attempts to latch onto any project, onto any deal that's going to pay her out tens of millions of dollars, well, it's not looking good at all for her sake. Let's get into this. Now, to top things off here, one thing about Meghan Markle is that now that the Meghan Markle series with Love Meghan is an official disaster since it debuted on March 4th, one massive development that is now active involves more to do with Meghan Markle and her ongoing behavior in the midst of the ratings plummeting for her show. A crucial update to this entire situation now involves how the Meghan Markle financial collapse recently got worse after Netflix made several decisions in the aftermath of the release of her series. It turns out that Meghan Markle had three other shows lined up besides With Love Meghan that were supposed to be a part of her contract renewal beyond 2025. One of the shows that Netflix canceled that was previously greenlit involved a very involved series of a one-on-one interview format featuring Meghan Markle asking questions toward very popular celebrities. This series alone, that was codenamed Tag Meghan, was going to pay Meghan around $20 million by Netflix that would later be built into her contract deal. This series was axed almost immediately after the internal test screenings failed for With Love Meghan. Now, another series, get this, that was also greenlit by Netflix and the board weeks ago, involved a series that was going to focus on Meghan Markle going on sightseeing events around the world and would hold similarities to what was planned for her series of her traveling in With Love Meghan Season 2. This project alone was going to provide her a payout of around $30.5 million. Now, the last series, this is very interesting here, that was scrapped midway through pre-production, involved a show centering on Meghan Markle custom-making clothes to build up a new clothing brand. Now, this series was going to be done in a reality TV-style format, with obvious scripted moments for the show, also featuring other celebrities. This series was going to hand over a payout of around $10.5 million altogether. Meghan lost an opportunity of gaining tens of millions of dollars by Netflix, and now even if, and that's if her contract deal is renewed with Netflix, the best case scenario, the board is only agreeing to do one show with a very limited budget of around $6 million tops, in the form of a miniseries no less, and that's if her contract even gets renewed beyond 2025. This all comes in the midst of Season 2 of With Love Meghan getting cancelled by the Netflix board. Now, to make matters worse, for Meghan's sake, is that more commercial studios not affiliated with Netflix are also tossing her out from taking part in debuting in commercials for many brands out there, along with other film studios now ready to ditch Meghan Markle from appearing in their films in the form of a cameo or small role. Now, guys, before I move on, let me just say one thing about this. This is obviously, something that Meghan Markle is going to continue to blame sexism, misogyny, and discrimination on. We all know it's coming. We can all see it's coming again because that's all she typically does when things don't go her way. Now again, this series with Love Meghan is what really contributed to all of these projects that were in the works by Netflix that are now dropping like dominoes, right? They're all falling and they are getting axed, cancelled, whatever have you, off of the entire project lineup for Netflix, alright? It seems like that they are finally beginning to realize that she is essentially, you know, a ratings disaster attractor, so to speak, right? That's basically what Meghan Markle is, and that's what she always will be when it comes to her presence on a TV show. Now again, like I've said before days ago, this is another phase of the financial collapse surrounding Meghan Markle. We already know that her backup plan is failing miserably as she tries to gain more commercial contract deals. We already know that things with Geico failed, Carnival Cruise Lines failed, Universal with the Universal Studios Epic Universe commercials that are no longer happening. There's a lot of avenues that Meghan Markle tried to take part in that are just not working well at all for her in the end, and a lot of it just has to do with the bad publicity and how much, you know, of the public are really showing their overall opinion of Meghan Markle and just how large the backlash really is and how unlikable she really has become in 2025, right? So continuing on from all of that, in the midst of all the Meghan Markle drama and in the midst of all this Meghan, of course, issues going on over at Netflix and how she's already attempting to strike a deal with Amazon to create other shows. Surprisingly, however, Amazon reportedly shot her down in order to avoid gaining backlash in a similar fashion to what happened with Netflix. Now, Meghan Markle's backup plans are already collapsing around her, while With Love Meghan fails to deliver with successful ratings through Netflix, and already Meghan is planning to make more public statements about her issues with the public. Now again, like I said earlier, she's going to try to get any contract deal that she can. It seems like Amazon, even Amazon, is beginning to realize that Meghan Markle is just somebody that you do not want to deal with, somebody that you do not want to affiliate yourself with, because it's going to taint your image as a company, as a brand, or your many brands that you handle, right? So yeah, I could see why she wanted to go toward Amazon, because they do a lot of things out there that a lot of people don't necessarily agree with. You know, there's a lot of things out there where people are very skeptical right now as we speak about them taking over the James Bond franchise, especially after what happened with the Rings of Power. A lot of people are very on edge about what Amazon is about to do with James Bond. We'll talk more about that in the coming weeks. But again, I think that this whole Meghan Markle financial situation, it really is very much vivid at this point, that she's running out of options at a rapid rate, that everything is affiliated with Love Meghan, alright? This is all because of this show in particular and how unlikable she has become over the years, especially now in 2025. So it's not looking good for her in the least. And one thing about With Love Meghan I will say is that this show is so inauthentic, it's so fake, it is so beyond cringe that a lot of people can't even get beyond episode 1. That's how bad it is, and that's really something that a lot of you have been expressing below in the comments, that you really can't even go beyond episode 1 or maybe even episode 2 at the most. That's how cringeworthy this show truly is. But overall, I would like to hear what everyone has to say about all this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.